The one thing that was like really making me laugh is, so Hugh Hefner, since he's died, there has just been article, Netflix special, like they're doing this guy dirty.
The most obvious shit, by the way.
Yeah.
Everything they say, they go, yeah, they're tarnishing his legacy. You go, yeah, that's all the stuff he was doing that we knew about and we're fine with and we're kind of aspirational and
like he's lucky he's dead, right?
Oh, I mean, dude. Nothing says lucky he's dead more than the fact that like he dies and then 4 years later they're like, hey, here's some trans people on the cover of Playboy. You're like, yeah, I don't think that's how we thought the direction of Playboy should go.
Yeah. So, but they're kind of like doing him dirty, and these girls are coming out with articles because it used to be like the original one was like newsflash, Hugh Hefner's a misogynist.
Yeah, I know.
Like those were kind of kind of what you're saying. The original,
yeah, a lot of sex and drugs happened at the Playboy mansion. You go, what?
What the hell?
What?
He wasn't like a very attentive partner.
Oh no, he wasn't attentive to his 6 girlfriends.
But the news stories that are coming out is they're doing him like it's kind of like he's got a small dick stuff. You know what I mean? Like this new one, they go the Playboy bunnies all got together and he said he would cry all the time.
Fake cry.
Yeah, it really is a jilted ex-girlfriend. Just like say, so yeah, they said he would fake cry whenever he needs to get his way. So the story is he would be like, hey, I'm here to get my sex or whatever, right? And then she'd be like, I don't want to. And he'd be like, you never do anything for me.
Yeah.
Do I not do enough?
So
his like cool guy image, they're just doing everything they can to just destroy it.
I mean, if fake crying to get something you wanted wasn't the domain of women specifically, I would maybe give this a little more credence. But you're like, that's your thing he's doing.
I know.
Right? You go, oh, he did it?
Well, maybe that's what happens.
You've never done it?
Maybe that's what happens when you only hang around
fire
women.
with fire.
Or it's it's like that thing where you go, if you just only hang around women, like it does make you softer. There's no question about that, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, I'll tell you a perfect example. Every girl
makes me angrier.
Hanging around with women makes you angrier.
Yeah, angrier.
Well, I think you need both, but like I will say every time I go hang out with my like a bunch of dudes for like a really extended period of time and I've like come home to my girlfriend, she's always kind of been like, yo, why are you being like an asshole right now? Do you know what I mean? And I'm just like,
can you stop shotgunning beers in the bed?
Like
it's getting everywhere.
Yes. Every girl I've ever dated, her least favorite version of me is I just spent like a weekend with the boys.
Yeah, like you're like amped up too. You're like, you didn't get this out of your system all weekend? You go, no, this is just starting.
Well, no, exactly. It's sort of rewind. Yeah, like I'm very competitive. You're very like, you know, what the fuck's this shit you're doing? Like, what was you call that a fucking tit? Like, what are you crying about now? Like,
what are you crying about?
It would be way more like that. Like, if a girl was like fucking mad about something, I go, what's she crying about now? Stuff like that, where she's like, why are you being like this? And it's like, I don't know. I guess this has just been normal for me for like 3 days.
Yeah, Stone Cold Stunner her.
Well, that would be, maybe not so much
rock.
physical.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Oh God.
What are you crying about? It doesn't matter what you're crying about.
Coming back from fucking SummerSlam.
That's such a good thing to do. Your chick comes back and she's like, I had a really bad day at work. And you go, oh my God, what happened? She goes, well, it doesn't matter what happened.
Just the best of the Rock sound bites. Shut up, bitch. Oh God.
Oh my God, you never guessed what my mom said. What did she say? It doesn't matter what your mom said.
She goes, Ron, you've been saying that to everything I say for the last week. You go, yeah, just working it out of my system.
Hey, what are you thinking? You want me to get you some pizza? I'm ordering food. Yeah, but it doesn't matter if you want pizza.
It's like, yeah, but you said that
one slice.
It's like, but you said that last time, and then I got you the slice, and you didn't like it. So
yeah, so that's possible. But but it's possible that Hugh Hefner spent so much time with women that he became one.
I guess. So he's a bit of a lesbian situation.
Well, every guy that's like...
I mean, he's also 85 at this point.
Sure.
He's an 85-year-old man.
Maybe he shit his
which
pants.
you kind of do regress to a bit, like a lot of your bodily
like
functions are regressing to a baby.
He's got a pacifier in.
Yeah, and the pacifier happens to be these like hot chicks' tits. Who wants some sucky?
There is 2 types of guys that crush a lot of women. There's a guy that's like, you're almost like way more like girls don't matter almost. And then there's the guy that like almost is a girl.
Yeah.
Like I know a lot of
really in tune.
Yeah,
is
yeah,
able
yeah.
to more manipulative, I would say.
almost the Spanish, like,
Yeah.
you know, you're, oh, like, I'm so, like, baby, I'm so, like,
Baby,
the romantic.
just let the puppies out.
Baby, let the puppies out.
As we do in Catalonia.
No. Only premium puppies. I do not play by the Spanish rules.
No.
So that guy is a guy that, you know, because that guy's not like going out with the boys and picking up a chick. That guy is like meeting a chick on the subway and like wooing her. So he only spends his time with women.
Yeah.
So those guys are very
feminine.
feminine.
He's like, oh my God, is that belt? Like he knows where her belt is from, and she's like, yeah, how do
Right.
you know that?
Yeah.
But he's like, he knows that because that's his business.
Maybe Hugh Hefner spent all his time with women that he's so sloppy. I like that I keep saying woman instead of women.
I know. I was
waiting for you to get annoyed.
honestly. I
had one more in me. That was me with the ladies. I gave him 10 more
honestly.
minutes.
You're turning into Jay. You're trolling me now. Okay. I was honestly like, am I mishearing something? You're like, are you trying to do a Russian accent? Because then you'd say, are you with woman? And
I don't know
women.
why I was coming out like that.
Yeah.
But I didn't like it either.
I think it maybe did it accidentally at first, and then you kept going. And I go, is something going on here?
Something happened, but that was me with the ladies. I go, I'll give you one more time, and then they would be like 20 more minutes. So then I gave them a pretty aggressive look.
You know what's funny too is the comments in the YouTube right now. Probably 20 comments about it before you even reference it. People are like, "What the fuck, woman?" He keeps
That's
saying
why
woman.
I felt like I had to address it.
Yeah.
I know.
And that's why I actually kept letting it slide because I go, so
he's gonna get it from
big
the
on
comments.
the SEO.
Well, they said one of his bizarre bombshells is the disgraced Playboy boss. He's not disgraced to any normal person. No
Disgraced
one
to
cares.
who?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Disgraced.
Like disgraced to Vice?
Well, that's the same way that they're just like Aristotle, disgraced philosopher.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Or anyone else. Who's the guy like Einstein?
Einstein, yeah.
Disgraced gravity inventor.
Scientist Albert Einstein.
Do you think that that's how they would refer to him?
They did.
Disgraced scientist.
I bet someone would because his notes came out and they were racist. He had racist notes.
And he was a womanizer.
Kind of, yeah.
No, Einstein was very like Mr.
Yeah,
Steal Your Girl type.
It's Mr. I mean, I feel like if Einstein stole your girl, you'd be like, I don't know.
He wasn't Einstein at the time, though, really. He was just like some wacky dude with his theories.
Oh, he wasn't like the old Einstein.
Well, I don't know.
No, because old Einstein was like, they came out and he had all these things where you're saying how Asian people all look the same and they have funny haircuts and stuff.
That's crazy.
And then they were trying to be like,
Not.
Einstein. And he's like, Einstein's racist. And you're like, well, he wrote this in the 40s or something.
Yeah.
It's probably a pretty acceptable point.
I hate
make.
when people like it's a big thing
The
on the internet to say,
revisionism.
oh, Asian people look the same, and then they show all these white people that look the same. And it was like, no, the point is every race, the average person kind of looks the same. It's just that some races have more versions of people.
And they look the same if you're not part of it because you don't understand the nuances of it. Whereas like all Asian people look the same because most people can't tell, like to someone
No, but
who
average
can't
white
tell the
guys
difference
with a
between
beard do look the
Japanese
same
and
to me.
Korean. Yeah, for sure.
Like they do. I
There's
also think
a
white
million
people
of
look the
me.
same. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Dude, you know how often I get tagged and stuff where people are like, is this you?
Yeah.
And you're like, it's just, yeah.
Well, they released a photo of that
Aristotle.
and
Or Socrates.
Aristotle, I think, and he looks exactly like Danny.
I know. I got tagged in that maybe 100 times.
Yeah. Well, so my point is that with the Asian thing, and that's whatever, not the biggest deal, but you go, if you think of like a black guy, you don't just think of one black guy. You think of like, there's kind of like a big fat black guy. There's like the short, cool black guy.
Like
and
the CeeLo.
There's just like a lot of different types, right?
Oh,
Whereas when you
absolutely.
think of an Asian, everyone sort of pictures the same model. Mm-hmm. And that's it. That's the whole thing.
Ichiro.
Right. So the whole reason it's like when people say a group looks the same, it's that they have less models.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't actually know that that's true. It's
Like
just,
even if you picture a white guy here, you might picture, like for example, people don't say it as much about Japanese Asians because you go, well, Japanese people, I might be picturing just like a businessman, but I also might be picturing a guy with like a crazy wacky hairdo and wacky outfits.
Yeah, but there might just be a tourist as well, just in a regular, just wearing his Helly Hansen shirts.
What do you
And
mean?
his hats. I mean, they're all over. They have lots of versions too. They're just maybe in the what's portrayed here is differently. But I'm saying over there, they don't think there's two kinds. They go, yeah, there's a million kinds. Like we.
No,
think.
but they're all-
But they think there's two kinds of white
Okay,
guys.
no, you're wrong because there's less height variance, they're less fat, so there is less like versions.
Actually,
even
that's
if you
true.
just take even if you're like, well, they have more wacky fashions there. Well, in a lot of places that's not true. A lot of places they actually don't have as many different like fashion versions. And then on top of that, they're just like less variance in like again, like there's tons of Americans that are 500 pounds and tons of Americans that are like 100 pounds that are white or black.
Sure.
And there's just not that many versions of other races.
Weight-wise, for sure, 100%.
Well, that's it.
Yeah, they are kind of have the same.
To me, that's the whole thing.
Yeah, I was kind of more going off face, but yeah, you're right.
So to me, that's how I see it. But with Hugh Hefner, they go, okay. The rest of it, they go, they're accusing him of crying crocodile tears to have his way with his harem of playmates. See, me and you are more of a cry during sex type of guy, right?
Where do you get the lube from?
Yeah. If we were emotional about something or asked for something, he would start fake crying. So that's actually
that's a good tactic.
It's not bad.
I
Now
mean,
I'm back
again,
in.
he's fighting fire with fire.
I thought he was crying for sex, but they're like, Hugh, we need more money because, I want to go on this trip to Spain or whatever. And he goes, but it's always, you give me so much money and I'm broke. I don't have any more money.
And he goes, no, he goes like, no, honey, I already gave you money. And they go, and he just goes, and then they're just two chicks crying. And then they go, all right, well, that's it. It's over.
It's the Larry David thing where they're both looking at each other, but they're both doing that crying.
Yeah. And he goes, okay. It's a stalemate. And then they probably go, we don't really know how to deal with this.
They're not.
And they have to go regroup, and then he just gets time by himself.
She comes back. She's like, as she's leaving the room, wiping the tears. What the fuck was that? What's he doing?
It's funny because they're really throwing the kitchen sink at him because this is what they have to come at him with because they can't. It's like there's no sex stuff to come at him with anymore.
Doesn't matter. He's dead.
Not only is he dead, but like he obviously did every single thing you can accuse him of.
Yeah.
So you're like, and everybody knows it.
He cheated on me.
Yeah. He cheated on me and the other girlfriends with some of the other girlfriends.
There's not much that you could hit him with on that front. You have to essentially say he raped me.
Which I'm sure that has come out.
I'm sure
there is a lot of that. And then, I don't know, but yeah, they're just now being like, yeah, you know what? He was a bit of a fucking bitch, baby.
Mm-hmm. Well, they have a Playboy Mansion podcast, which is bad news for him. He would have never let that happen. These hens. He basically has like a gossip podcast about him. Think about what he essentially has if he was still alive. Essentially, he goes, hey, my 12 girlfriends have a podcast together. Like, what are they talking about? It's like mainly trashing
It's called Left Out of the Will. With Hugh's ex-girlfriends.
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's if you're going to have my 12 girlfriends are going to have a podcast, but I'll tell you where you're going to be doing that podcast from your new fucking shanty town.
Your studio apartment in West Hollywood. Joy ladies.
Yeah, exactly. The Playboy is just straight up tarnishing this guy's name, dude. He's the only thing that keeps them relevant, too. Because if that podcast wasn't, if they go, the 12 hoes are going to talk about something other than how bad of a guy Hugh Hefner is, like, what else are they going to talk about? Like, we just think the environment's so good. Everyone's like, click.
Yeah, they go, we have one thing that we care about is, like, what was it like when
the legacy.
What was it like being Hugh Hefner's girlfriend?
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, I don't know. Do you have good plastic surgeon recommendations?
Like the Office podcast that we always talk about.
Yeah. Be like, so what's going on in the news this week on the Office podcast? And you're like, click. No thanks.
I don't need.
No thanks, Pam.
Yeah, Kevin from The Office, starts going off about his thoughts on COVID.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, actually, I would like that, but I know that Kevin from The Office's thoughts on COVID will probably. I mean, if he wants to keep his Kevin from The Office podcast, they're not going to be very interesting.
We know exactly what it's going to be.
He's not going to be going off. I'll tell you that much.
No, he'll be going off on like some new food item at Chili's that's some sort of abomination that he doesn't like.
It is an interesting, so those things are, you have one thing that anyone's going to hear about from you. And comes just days after Marquardt used her platform to expose him for making the Playmates feel like pieces of meat.
Shut up. Shut the fuck up. If that's a direct quote, you're like, you're literally pieces of meat. That's your livelihood is derived on the fact that you are pieces of meat.
She's coming out and saying she's not happy about it.
Oh, yeah. You know what's so funny, too, is you make your whole life about being a piece of meat, and then your looks fade because you're 50 now. I'm not some piece of meat. And we go, yeah, we know that. You're not anymore.
That's correct.
And they go, I have a brain. You go, yeah, not so fast. I don't know about that either, though.
Yeah, that's the duh of the millennium, too, right?
Yeah, I go, they treat us like pieces of meat. You go, yeah, we were all in on this.
Yeah, you go, when were you treated like pieces of meat? Well, when me and 20 other girls were Hugh Hefner's girlfriend, it sort of made me feel like I'm some sort of piece of meat.
Yeah, like when we were part of his harem.
So that's their hot. That's what's going on in the Playboy podcast.
That's cool.
Some of the episodes are leading people to believe that being part of a guy's harem made them feel like a bit of a piece of meat.
Financially compensated too. They weren't even like they were probably compensated fairly well.
Yeah,
and
you
have
were paid.
careers off of it.
You're a
professionals.
You were a professional,
And
piece
not
of
prostitutes either. They were. This is like pretty
Well, they
good
kinda
deal
were.
for them. Yeah, but not like in the grand scheme. Of
You're
things.
saying it was in between a prostitute and a wife,
something like that. Yeah.
like a stay-at-home wife, where it's like you're not getting. Put it this way. You're not technically getting paid for the sex, but if the sex stops, the payment might also stop.
Yeah, or like you gain a few, and we need you looking good.
Yeah, so she also blasted him. Ready for this? It's not over. So those are the two first worst ones, but there's more. But wait, there's more. Billy Mays style. During their most recent episode, Madison, which is one of the Playmates, went on to blast Hugh Hefner and said he gaslit her.
No.
He
No.
gaslit her and the other girls by weaponizing his tears, even though he already had all the power in the relationship. Very hard to have all the power in the relationship when there's 10 fucking girls that are all getting together.
Yeah, I mean, I guess when you can like literally fire your girlfriend, like you're not breaking up with them, you're firing them.
You don't even have to do it.
But I'm sure they were doing more of the gaslighting if we made that pie chart of who's doing gaslighting.
Right. Well, he's basically coming out and he's like, or maybe he was crying. It's like he has, 13 girls that shows up and he goes, but I wanted 14 girls. I thought you promised this. There's going to be 14 of you here.
Because I just popped 14 Viagras.